Welcome to the new Camtasia Studio. We encourage you to watch and play with this Getting Started project video to learn some of the most important concepts of using the editor. If you want more in-depth tutorials that will walk you through the entire process of recording, editing, and sharing your videos, then please watch the Getting Started tutorials using this link under the Help menu. The editor is divided up into three main areas: the clip bin, the timeline, and the canvas. The canvas is where you see your video during playback and can move, resize, and reposition all media however you want. The timeline is where you assemble and edit your video. At the top of the timeline, tick marks represent time in terms of minutes and seconds. When building a video, you'll work in a horizontal manner, beginning from the left and moving sequentially through time toward the right. The tracks are layered on top of each other, so media you add on higher tracks is viewed on top of media on lower tracks in the canvas. For example, this callout is placed on top of the video track on the timeline, and therefore is on top of the screen video on the canvas. If I drag the video track on top of the callout on the timeline, the callout is now hidden behind the video on the canvas. Use the zoom slider to magnify the view of the timeline. This is very helpful when making precise cuts and selections, like removing ums in your audio. New media can be dragged and dropped on an existing track, or a new track is automatically created when media is dropped at this location at the top of the timeline. To change the position of a clip on the timeline, just drag it. To change the duration of a clip, drag the edges in either direction. An important part of the timeline is the playhead. To view your video, click play. Notice how the video and the timeline's playhead stay in sync. Click anywhere along the timeline and the playhead moves to that point. To remove a portion of your video, make a selection with the green in point and red out point. Then click the cut button. If you don't want media cut on a specific track, just click the lock icon. If you make a mistake while editing, press Ctrl-Z on the keyboard to undo, or choose Edit Undo. Double-click the playhead to deselect. Next, we'll look at the clip bin in the library. The clip bin holds recordings, audio files, images, and title slides being used in the project you're currently working on. The library stores video clips, intros, callouts, title slides, and other media assets you want to use from project to project. It is pre-populated with professional content you can use in your
Hello, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, welcome to our workshop for beginner. Only half day, quick guide. And I, as an instructor, the instructor Puan Azura Ishaq, you can call me Puan Azura. So,
just drag it to a track.
Okay, before we proceed how to use SPPS, okay, I will recall back about the statistic. Okay, what is it, the statistic? You should know first the basic of statistic before we use SPPS. For statistic, we can divide by two types. Okay, first is descriptive and the second one is inferential. You should know that descriptive is presenting, organizing, and summarizing data. Meanwhile, inferential statistics is for drawing conclusion about a population based on data observed in a sample. So actually, we use SPPS. We are focused on inferential statistics, which we will test hypothesis, okay, in our research.
Like the speech-to-text capabilities and captions.
But what is it? How to identify variables?
Also,
actually?
transitions can now be dragged directly to the timeline.
Right. Before we identify the variables, you should know which the data it can be categorized by two types. Okay, categorical and numerical. Okay, categorical, for example, marital status, political party, eye color, which we can define as categories. Okay, marital status, whether you married or not. Okay, eye color, blue, chocolate, black, and others. Political party, maybe you are party A, B, C, right? Meanwhile, numerical we can divide by two, discrete and continuous. For example, for discrete is the number of children. Okay, decade per hour. It is counted items. Okay, which as a simple I can see that this
or the video in player on your own web server.
What we call
This player provides playback on multiple devices with just one video, whether it's phone, tablet, laptop, or desktop.
Voltage and others.
Well, it's time for you to try Camtasia Studio for yourself, using the content on the timeline, or better yet, create your own.
Categories.
We have lots of free tutorials on our website, and I recommend you begin with the Getting Started series.
Ratio data.
Also, the help file inside Camtasia Studio tells you how to use each of the Camtasia Studio features and applications.
Interval data.
One last thing.
It is seems like ratio, but the differences between measurement, but not through zero. Okay, ratio data is through zero exists. For example, temperature in Fahrenheit, standardized exam score. Other ordinal data, once we call as audit categories, so this we call as ordinal data. For example, quality rating, student letter grades, right? And the last one is nominal. It is in categories. Okay, ordinal and nominal is categories, but ordinal is ranking, ordered. Meanwhile, nominal is not ordering or any direction. For example, marital status, gender, type of car, okay, and others. Right. So this is the flow chart of selecting commonly used statistical tests. Right. I will explain it later in detail, but this is the picture of commonly used statistical tests. Okay, how can you select the statistical tests? Okay, all right, to analyze the data using SPPS. Okay, this actually is for inferential data only, inferential statistic only. Yeah. Okay, this is an example of research title or topics about mathematics attitude and achievement of FTSM students, which, let's say, we have 5 objectives. Okay, determine mathematics attitude, mathematics achievement, investigate gender differences in mathematics attitude and achievement, investigate race differences in mathematics attitude and achievement, and determine relationship between attitudes toward mathematics and achievement in mathematics. Okay, now we want to determine, okay, which you have to use descriptive or inferential. But you should know first, okay, what is it, the variables, okay, that using in this research, and you should know what type of data, okay, in this research. Right, based on objective, you can list the variables, you can identify the type of data, and based on each objective, you can determine whether this statistic is descriptive or inferential. Okay, because it is very important. If inferential, you should use statistical test. Okay, whether t-test, ANOVA, right, Pearson, and others. Okay. Okay, based on the objective we discussed before, you should know that you have to remember. Okay, the questionnaire that you did before should be tally with the objectives. Okay, otherwise the data is not valid. Right? Okay, so if all of the previous things that I explained before, it's clear, so you can proceed using SPPS. Okay, we take 5 first, then I will proceed on using SPPS. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.